What's up, everyone? Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom 2018. I'm joined by Daniel and Rich, part of the Shadow of the Tomb Raider team. What's up, you guys?
How you doing, Sydney?
Thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk about this game. I've had the privilege of playing a little bit of it, so I'm really excited to dive in. So, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is obviously the third game in this installment. What can you tell us about where we're finding Lara in her journey?
We're absolutely finding Lara at her most calculating, her most capable. This is her taking those final few steps to becoming the Tomb Raider that she's destined and meant to be. Because Lara has, throughout the entire narrative arc, been growing, she's been learning, she's been accumulating skills, and she's always been putting herself in harm's way for what she feels is right, but now the stakes have never been bigger. This is the Maya apocalypse. This is Lara Croft literally fighting Trinity for the fate of humanity. So we have to up the stakes in every way possible. So this is why she's at the height of her skills.
So when you say up the stakes, what exactly are you referring to?
Go ahead, Dan.
A lot of things I would say, because this is going to be the most Tomb Raider of all, the three of them, because we're approaching the destination. And one of the things we wanted to push is making sure that everything you're going to experience, whatever it's combat, whatever it's the tomb, whatever it's exploration, it's going to the next level. So things like we've seen so far, you know, a flood, a big flood that she's causing by herself. And this goes to what Rich was talking about at the beginning, where, you know, yes, she's at the maximum, you know, of what her own capabilities and experience, but in terms of emotional, how she is maturity, you know, she's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And this is all about this journey and understanding that there's big consequence to your reaction. Even if you think that your action is actually very small and maybe non-consequential, she takes the dagger and she created. So there's going to be a lot of moments in the game where you're going to be exposed to that. What was the consequence of these actions?
And the thing that I really like about it when we talk about upping the stakes, because if Lara is at her most capable, in order to challenge the player, we have to make everything else really push back harder than ever before. So you think about the world. We make traversal more difficult than ever. We give her new skills like the wall run, the rappel, so she can navigate and explore in different ways.
Which I love that wall run.
And it opens up a lot of different exploration and a lot of different movement. And so then you take about combat. So Trinity, they're at their height of their powers. They're throwing more people. Lara's outgunned, outnumbered.
So everyone is really just like up here the entire time.
So she has to use new skills like camouflage, you know, mud, putting herself in a vine wall so that she can strike like the jaguar, disappear using fear in combat. And then even the tombs. We make them more brutal, more deadly than ever. Even the traps are trying to kill you. Even the puzzles are trying to kill you. So everything, the tombs, the combat, the world is all pushing back harder than ever.
Has to watch her back.
Absolutely.
So you guys like really touched on a ton of things that I just want to go back to. So rolling it all the way back to that personal growth. I'm so interested in seeing this darker side of Lara, and kind of, you know, we've always been rooting for her and it's been really easy to empathize, but you know, like maybe starting an apocalypse is a little bit unrelatable. Like, I don't know that I'm on your side. So is she the good guy still?
The question is interesting because one of the things you're saying it's the darker side of her, but I think it's the most personal side of her. And this is the angle we're going for.
Yeah.
Causing the apocalypse is not like she's not like she's willing to do that. It's
yeah,
just
she's not trying to do it. Totally.
She's thinking she's doing the right thing. And like every young adult, yes, you imagine that she's very young.
Yeah.
And she has all these big capacities. So dealing with that is very, very difficult. And understanding going through all that is very difficult. So you know, the growth in this game is all about that. It's all about getting that maturity. And she's meeting this bad guy that a lot of people are feeling a lot of affinity with this bad guy because he seems to be more human. And he's some kind like a mirror to her because they share the same goals. You know, he's super smart, as smart as her. It's the first time, you know, she meets somebody super smart like her.
Yeah.
And the other thing, though, he has one thing she doesn't have yet, and it's maturity. So when he's talking to her in that moment, you feel that he has this experience how to deal with these kind of things that she has less. And the other thing also we like to expose, if you play like the first hour, you feel like she's not that comfortable with people. You know, you were going inside that. You know how she will say to Jonah, I'm going to let you do the talking, you know?
I love the dynamic of her and Jonah together, by the way. I just think it's so sweet, and he's like really just this older brother. And you were talking about how everything's out to get her, and it's so refreshing just to have someone be like, hello, like I'm here for you.
Yeah, and that's why actually it becomes so powerful in those moments where even Jonah is pushing against her, when Lara's obsession and, you know, her drive to do what she thinks is right but is really causing things to go in a negative direction. Like you said, she's causing the apocalypse on accident, but she still causes it, and she feels like, okay, I'm the only one who can now fix it. And to see Jonah have those emotional moments when he's saying it's not all about you, or we have to stop, we have to see what's going on, that's what makes those powerful moments.
Definitely. So going back to the new movement ability. So you said rappelling, wall running, you can swim in this. Swimming was my favorite part, by the way, when I was exploring Kuwak-Yaku, which is one of the game hubs. There's a whole area to swim, and I couldn't stop swimming for no reason. I mean, I wasn't after anything. It was just really cool. So when you're choosing what new movement abilities to add, because that obviously opens up a lot for what you guys can do as far as puzzles go, where does your mind go first? Like, how do you decide that?
But the thing is that, you know, I've been working on Tomb Raider 2013 and Rise of Tomb Raider. And when we were looking at some of the feedback we received, people were saying the traversal and exploration was not that challenging. And one of the things we wanted to do is like, okay, how can we make more challenge, making traversal itself be much more dynamic and challenging. And the other thing also is that the only way we had before that, Lara going down, was her falling down. And having the rappel down made her feel way more in control. And that is
Which
something
is perfect at this point of the story.
And also, it is a descent inside of her. You know, metaphorically, sorry, my French, metaphorically, you are descending inside of her. And it was important that all the mechanics, all the gameplay supporting that, whatever was in combat or in traversal, going down with the rappel, going down underwater, like getting super deep, was extremely important for us. So it was part of part of the exploration of the environment, because the environment mirrors how Lara feels, that you feel this connection between Lara and the world.
And it was also a fan request. Fans, like you said, it goes back all the way in the classic games. They love swimming. And so we said, all right, we're going to give you swimming, but be careful what you wish for, because we're going to make it survival. We're going to make it so that there is limited air, that you are, trying to make your way to find treasure, or you're trying to make your way to find a path, or maybe even a challenge tomb, but there's going to be piranhas, eels, you have to manage your oxygen. So it is still about that claustrophobic, I don't know what's on the other side of that crevasse, it could just be my death feeling when you're underwater.
Definitely. Well, and I feel like not having a meter telling you you're almost out of breath is extremely stressful. So you mentioned kind of the dangers of underwater, and obviously there's a lot of dangers out in the jungle. How did you go about utilizing that to kind of help make that feeling of like, she is kind of alone right now? Yeah,
she is. And we really wanted to put Lara in a place where everything was trying to kill her. You know, we
you did a good job.
We always think about the way that the world works in the Tomb Raider series is that it is protecting its secrets. And the world is full of mysteries that people could find if they just had the skill and the will to go and unearth them. And Lara's one of the few people in the world who can actually put herself in those incredibly hostile situations, these beautiful environments that are trying to kill you, and survive. And so that's just been a theme of the entire series. So with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because Lara is at the height of her skills, she has to go into the deadliest place in the world, the jungle. And so we really look at this as a character. The jungle itself is protecting its secrets. It's protecting, the lost city of Paititi. So it will throw everything it can at Lara. Natural predators, treacherous traversal, underwater, anything to stop people from finding that city. But Lara is the one that's going to be able to overcome it and make her way through those challenges.
That's so interesting, because I never really thought about that as the jungle being another character in this game, and how she sets off the apocalypse, and that's the world reacting to her choice.
Absolutely.
And now it's almost trying to protect itself.
There's a character, when you approach a main character or secondary characters, you always like an arc.
Yeah.
This is where the character starts and where the character will end. And we did the same thing with the world. So I don't know if you were observant of that, but when you're actually find yourself at the beginning of the jungle is threatening. The lighting is darker. We're using more howling monkey sound, very foreboding type of sound. It's very rich, overwhelming. You feel like claustrophobic. Even that's why there's a lot of foliage. And as you advance, the more and more the jungle is accepting you, the more and more you feel synchronized with the jungle, the more light comes piercing through the foliage, the more it becomes whiter and lighter, and the music and the birds and everything starts to be more positive, and you feel that through the entire game from the beginning to the end. This character has its own evolution, and you feel this synchronization. So when you arrive at closer to the end of the game, you feel that Lara, she's more, the world is helping her more, and then that it's finding her.
We have this phrase, we call it becoming one with the jungle.
Yeah.
And that's really when we talk about all those combat and all of those tactics that Lara is using, a lot of those are things that she is learning from the jungle. One of my favorite moments is there's Lara walking and she sees a jaguar in front of her and she's readying her bow. She's like, okay, I've got this. She gets attacked from behind. She realizes that the jaguar in front was just a distraction. They were working in teams. And then she realizes that's how she can outthink and outsmart and outgun Trinity by striking from where they don't know she's going to be and then disappearing again. And it's one of the things that we actually changed in the combat, because before in Rise of the Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider, if you popped the bubble, as we call it, when you got out of stealth, you could not ever get back in. You were just in aggressive combat the whole time. Now, if you use the jungle, disappear into the canopy, evade the Trinity troops, you can get back into stealth.
Okay, so I have so much I want to talk about, but I just feel I would feel really rude if we didn't address this insane gameplay that we're watching. So we were talking and you were saying it's called Trial of the Eagles.
Correct.
Trial of the Eagles.
Trial of the Eagle.
Which I again had liberty of playing during demo, and it was my absolute favorite part of the demo. How did you guys come up with this? Did you have any code names while you were working on it? Like, tell me everything. I'm so excited about this.
The code name, thank you for doing it just in case I called it the wrong thing. Because I've been calling it Citadel of the Wind for the last year and a half, which was
so
the code
hardcore.
name. And literally last night, Dan says, it's actually called Trial of the Eagle, right? And I'm like, okay, how am I possibly going to remember that? So thank you.
Yeah, I got you, man.
The thing, when we start thinking about that, when you think, the first thing we said to ourselves is that people were talking about how the challenge tomb were exciting on Rise of Tomb Raider, and the actual puzzles or tomb were not as exciting on the main path they were on the challenge. And we said on this one, what if we would be building a challenge tomb but on the main path?
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what it felt like.
It's exactly the theme of that, and we said let's do that. But one of the things that we experienced that was very harder on Rise is the fact that when people are going into puzzles and they get stuck, we have some playtests we're going through, and people are saying, oh, this is the place where they would normally abandon. They love the puzzle, they love that. They would abandon. In this case, when we pushed it there, we knew that by using the difficulty system of the puzzle, more like, okay, easy, normal, hard, we could have way more complicated puzzle like the challenge tomb on the main path, because people are stuck. They could go into the easy mode and have the solution for them. So that for us, then we went like, okay, now we can go nuts with all these tombs on the main path.
And the way that works is that if you need more help on things like the puzzle or the navigation, as you decrease the difficulty, the white markings get more strong, and Lara will talk to herself more to give you hints on what to do. So if people are getting stuck on something, as Dan said, you're not doomed. And one of the things we loved about Trial of the Eagle is that it feels like a tomb with heavy traversal, heavy puzzle solving, little bit of traps. So it's kind of got something for everyone who wants that real Tomb Raider experience.
And it's an open world space.
Yeah.
It's an open space.
It's an open area.
Yeah, open area. Yeah. So it feels much more grandiose because of that. And the other thing also, when you were looking at that, because one of the things we use, like Rich was saying, like when we were building the tomb was trying to kill you. So it's not just a deadly tomb, but even the things you interact with need to be super hard.
Well, I am so excited to see what else you guys have in store for us when the full game comes out on September 14th, correct? So stick around, you guys, and more Gamescom 2018 is coming at you. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.